Hello everyone, and welcome to this unboxing video for Arkham Horror the Card Game's Return to the Forgotten Age.
Oh god, it's gonna hurt.
Not really. So this is the Return to, aka revamp, usually make harder, give some upgrades to the cards that came from the set of, well, the Forgotten Age set, or cycle, which is the third expansion set from Arkham Horror the Card Game. This one has you going way out of Arkham. Oh boy, I think like only one scenario takes place in Arkham. Maybe two. I could be wrong. I've played this one entirely. I haven't, or at least the basic entire. There's a hidden something. Anybody who's played through it knows what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to miss, even if you don't meet the criteria to do it, but it's there. I will probably end up mentioning that in the video, like what that actually is, because it's probably pointed out very clearly in this. But, as usual, the Return to is a long box intended to store an entire, fully sleeved expansion with all 6 of its Mythos packs. And this does already have the fact of there are new sleeves. FFG is changed their sleeves. I don't know if they're the same size, but they've at least changed them in name, and they cover a lot more than just their games now, too. Although, you could always use them. Wow, this feels a lot longer. Like, longer. It is actually the full length of the box now. So yeah, definitely. And there is a lot more in here, honestly. Not just the fact that it's more space, but like, the achievement list doesn't start till down here on the 3rd page, and the credits still take up the normal amount of space. So, yeah, there looks like they added a variant for randomized encounter sets, which, that sounds painful for this one. But it also looks like there's just a bunch of different story outcomes, or outcomes from scenarios. So, as usual, this is just some packs of cards with dividers, and basically an empty box with a filler. Woo! Because while this is the new stuff, and this is what you're really paying for when you get these, it's convenient to have these boxes, which also do have a nice label on the side, so that you can just put it into a shelf nice and easy. I find these really convenient. I just hate that they take 2 expansions to come out. Like 2 expansions later. In fact, the 3rd expansion later is coming soon-ish. But, so, a bunch of dividers, enough for everything, including the, I don't know if I can find them real quick, but I'll try to, the encounter sets that are, like, here's one, from the core game. This is actually one of the few reasons to buy more than a second starter box, and I still wouldn't. Not unless you have a lot of 4 friends you play with who really like overlapping stuff from that box, at which point in time you might as well also be buying multiple expansions and multiple Mythos packs. AKA, tell your friends to buy their own copy. So, we got 2 packs of cards here. We're gonna start with scenario cards, although this one has player cards on the front. I assume the start of the scenario cards are here too. So let me just immediately put that to the side. So these come with basic return to instructions. They look kind of like the standard what the token cards do, and you know, all the changes are here. The big thing is here's the deck changes, which cover mainly, there's new sets of standard encounter decks in here. But like, for example, this goes straight from Return to Untamed Wilds to Return to Doom of Etsley. There is literally no extra cards, at least in here. I know the organization for this gets a little odd within the box. So there is nothing new for Untamed Wilds, thankfully. In my opinion, that was the most painful scenario. Also, speaking of which, this campaign gets a lot of bad attention. Honestly, it just plays differently, in my opinion. It doesn't hurt anymore. Also, it's Arkham. You came here to get hurt. Doom of Etsley has a bunch of different stuff on it. Oh, wonderful. There's a new Harbinger card. Yay. I don't know what the actual difference is, but at first glance, I can't tell. I would need the two side by side. Then we got a bunch of new locations, which are intended to go in the exploration deck. Remember, exploration deck is a thing for this expansion. Then we've got Return to Threads of Fate, which was the one where you had choices, and I say that instantaneously because it looks like there are at least 2 more choices, although I'm not reading right now how this works, because I don't want to spoil it for myself, but there are 8 new act cards. That was the one that had like 15 act cards to begin with. And an ally, who I'm assuming is a reward from following one of those paths. Before I get to this one, because it looks like it goes into the next pack, let's just go ahead and open that so I won't have to break in the middle of it. But Boundary Beyond is next, with 6 locations that are not part of the exploration deck. Heart of the Elders, which was split into 2 parts last I remember. It is part 1 and part 2 here. Has a new Act 1 and 2 copies of a Feathered Serpent. Yummy. So an enemy. And then part 2 has 4 exploration, or again, I'm assuming exploration locations. City of Archives, which, oh boy, that can always be interesting, has a brand new Act 2 with a lot more things you can do. And 3 new locations, as well as 2 new enemies, or 2 copies of a new one. That one didn't have an exploration deck. You had other problems. Oh boy, was that an interesting scenario. The Depths of Yogg have a new card in here of Perils of Yogg. It is a peril. Whee! And it's a choice of one of 2 things that I'm not reading. Then Shattered Aeons, having 3 exploration locations and 2 copies of a new Treachery. And the spoilers thing is the 9th scenario. Turn Back Time has 4 new locations, and that's it. We go straight into the new Treachery sets after that, I believe. So we've got one set with 4 new enemies, 3 copies of one and 1 copy of another, and then it also has 2 Treacheries, the same one. Then we have another set of 5 cards, 2 Treacheries with 2 copies of one, 3 copies of the other. Again, if people would like to actually see these outside of an unboxing video where I'm just like, woo, hi, here's what's in the box in general, please feel free to comment. I'm more than willing to do a detailed overview video of this. I'm trying to actually start doing that anyway for the core game, but first I want to do a general overview of the contents. Then the next set, we've got 5 more Treacheries, 3 and 2 of their respective 2. And then the last one, we've got 4 enemies, 3 of one, 1 of the other, and 1 Treachery. So, that's all the madness that makes this worse. Or different. So far it's been worse. I've only played parts of 2 of the Return 2s and very little of them. It's just, I don't have a lot of time to play this game right now. And the person I play this game with usually isn't around, because plague. But onto the more fun parts, the player cards. So, just at a quick glance, it looks like we've got 2 of each class, 1 for neutrals, and we've got 4 new basic weaknesses, 3 of which look the same. They've done similar things for the past ones. Alright, so for Guardians, we've got a upgraded version of Blood Eclipse, their first spell. Then we have an upgraded version, a level 2 version, in fact, of Survival Knife. I love this. I'm wondering what the difference is. At a quick glance, it just looks like upgraded strength. Then, and these are all upgraded, by the way. That's usually what the player cards are in these. They're upgraded versions of pre-existing cards from that expansion. And we've got for Seekers, Truth from Fiction. Then another version of the Ancient Stones Completed. They're both the same. This is the quest card for the expansion, or the result of. And for rogues, we've got Decorated Skull. And Colt Vest Pocket. Ooh, Mists of Rayleigh for Seekers. Yay, more evade. And, even more interesting, an upgraded version of the Chthonian Stone. This card's amazing. Ooh, it has charges now. So you don't just get rid of it when you draw one auto-fail. You have to go through it 3 times. 4, depending on who you're playing, or you can always add more via other things. So that makes even better for control decks. Then for survivors, we've got Altered Fate. And then the only player card that we have a singular copy of, not counting weaknesses, of course, is On Your Own, which makes sense because it's an exceptional permanent. I think I've actually seen this one before, and I believe On Your Own isn't, the original version isn't like this at all, but I could be wrong. Then for the neutrals, we've got Backpack. Woo! It looks like you can just search more top cards. I think it used to be 8, and now you can search 12. You can still only store 3, and it's still items or supplies. Then into the new basic weaknesses, one of which is an asset, and then the other 3 are treacheries, which are Dendromorphism. Looks like it takes up both your hands, has 1 health, and can't leave play while it has no damage. I was reading that backwards for a bit, which kind of made me go, what? And then it has a lightning bolt effect. Take 1 direct damage, deal 1 damage to this. This card was designed by the botanists at Arkham Knights 2018. Again, Arkham Knights being the convention specifically for the Arkham Files, aka FFG's Lovecraftian-based games. Cool. And then we have Offer You Can't Refuse, Fine Print, and Sell Your Soul. All 3 of which have very similar images, but they aren't the same. The coloring's a bit different, especially for this one. And the image is slightly different. It looks like, okay, yes, this is another one of those things get worse as you go. I'm not really a big fan of these because they're usually auto-death. And like the other ones, campaign mode only. When you get this, when you become the bearer of this, as it says, gain 2 experience. Woo! Revelation, so when you actually draw it. Lose 5 resources. If you can't, instead, remove this and replace it with Fine Print, second one, which then gets upgraded to 7 resources, moving on to Sell Your Soul, and then that's upgraded to 10 resources. If you can't, your Dark Patron tears your consciousness from your body. You are driven insane. I like that better. There's a way to control it. That can really suck if you also have the weakness that's discard all your resources. You're kind of screwed at that point, but that happens with these. So, that's everything this time around. As usual, scenario cards, player cards, usually a significant difference for these. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to press the like button. If you think somebody else will enjoy this, feel free to share this video. Either way, it'll help this video get seen more. If you didn't like this video, go ahead and press the dislike button. I won't mind, but please leave a constructive comment as to why. Also, feel free to comment in general, such as how I said earlier, if you'd like to see a detailed overview of any of this. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on Arkham Horror the card game, or the other Arkham File games, most of which I have here, playable. And if you'd like to see more like this, be it more unboxing videos, my board game overviews, my painting videos, all 3 of which I try to do for the Arkham File games, and anything else that I might do on this channel, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.